Okay, so let's play a fun game of counting how many times Trisha lied on the H3 podcast number 152. Okay?
All you hear is gossip. Man, all I hear is gossip. Yeah, man, call it gossip.
So first, she's not a troll.
Troll.
I think you're a troll.
No.
Are you a troll?
No.
No? I feel like you're a troll.
You think?
I'm sure you're a troll.
Like how? Like what does that mean?
I
though?
feel what it
I'm
means.
not a troll like
what
you.
it means is
I'm not- I
that
don't
you
think
say
we're a
things
troll.
you don't mean for attention.
No, not anymore. I used to. Years ago, I used to. And you think I do that now?
Yes.
No.
Ethan lists several videos, and she admits that those are trolls.
Down that route.
Okay, well,
Let
I'm
me
just
ask you
saying.
this. Is it true that you've also identified as black, chicken nugget, and lesbian?
Those were trolls. Well, not the lesbian one, but obviously the.
So how can you
Well,
be both how can you be a lesbian and a gay man?
You can be a lesbian and a gay man.
How?
Well, at the time, like, okay.
How can you be a lesbian and a gay man? We're going to stay on track, though. She now backtracks and says that those videos are not trolls, but her truths at the time.
All those videos were made. I used to be really into drugs. I did a lot of like meth and stuff like that. So when I did those videos, I was high for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I don't think I'm African American, but I made that video with sunglasses on for a reason. Obviously, I was the chicken nugget era. That was my truth at the time.
You were a chicken nugget. That was your truth.
At the time, because I was fucked up.
She says the first time that she tries meth was on May 8th on her birthday. The first time. Pay attention to that.
I tried meth for the first time this year when you did my videos, when I had that day you posted it was my birthday, and when I ended up in like the hospital for a meth overdose.
But then she says that she has had meth multiple times and even mentions several months.
I was doing meth a bunch of times before that, between the February 5th and February 5th is when I went to the mental hospital. I was 5150 February 5th of this year. And then I went to the mental hospital, and then I still was using through February through May. And May 8th was the last day. And if anything, I could credit you to my sobriety because that's when I stopped using drugs.
So she mentions that she's sober, but also mentions that she drinks alcohol.
So in my head, I feel I haven't done drugs since May 8th, but I drink, but I don't do drugs. But and if anything, I could credit you to my sobriety because that's when I stopped using drugs.
So anyone that wants to come to her defense and say that she's talking about drugs when she mentions that she is sober, here is the definition of sober. So by definition, she is not sober because she drinks alcohol. Okay, so it's just, I'll give her maybe a little pass, since here she just doesn't know the definition of sober, clearly. So throughout the podcast, there were several instances that she self-identified as a girl or a woman. Yeah, here are just two clips.
Make fun of a chubby guy. I'm a chubby girl. I can make fun. I have a song called Fat Chicks. I can make fun of like fat girls because I'm a fat girl.
I'm just trying to understand because I don't think all women hate straight men.
No, just me.
So, of course, that wouldn't have been a big deal had she then gone on back to her story of actually identifying as a man and having problems with being labeled with he, she, etc., even though she's been doing that throughout the entire podcast and even continues to do that after this conversation.
So you say you're a man. You identify as a man.
I do identify as a man.
Why are you dressed as a female?
It's like my character. It's my job. It's like a drag queen, like man dressed as drag because I appreciate
You're
art and the
drag.
aesthetic.
You're a man in drag.
It's how I look at it. It's like my job, right? Like I show my boobs for
But
a
you've
living.
always looked like that.
Yeah, because I've always done that. I've been a stripper since I was 15 years old. Like I've
But
always
don't
done
you see
it.
that trans people have a hard time taking that seriously?
Where do you feel like you're a man? Where?
Always inside, like always in my heart. Like I've always been, when I don't want the attention, like when I go out and stuff like that, I've always felt male from a very young age. Like it's not about like not wanting to play with Barbies or wanting to only be with guys and stuff like that. It's not like that at all. It's more of just the energy I feel. Like I get uncomfortable when people, like obviously it's my job, so now I'm like, oh yeah, talk about my tits all you want. But I've always been uncomfortable if people like talked about like me as a female, referred to me as her, like all that stuff like that. It was always uncomfortable. Even as a kid, I remember not wanting to go in like the girls' bathroom, and there's no way to explain it or to describe it to someone who hasn't felt it. Like
But then she turns around and says she does not plan on getting surgery or does not even try to look more like a man because she prefers the look of a woman, which kind of, it's just, she does not have gender dysphoria, which is a part of being transgender, right? So yeah, let's just watch this.
Why do you? It seems that people who are trans have what's called gender dysmorphia. Dysphoria. Such an asshole. Sorry. And they attempt to transition to the opposite gender because that's how they see themselves.
Not all transgenders. That's just on the doctors. And gender is not sexuality. It's not It's not what you're assigned with at birth. That's not gender. Your gender isn't what's in your pants. Just because you have a penis doesn't mean you're a male.
Right. There's gender and there's sex.
But then the fact that you're
Yeah.
trans male, it makes me think that you would want to look more like a male.
No. I like the aesthetic of a woman, but
So
I
what?
don't.
So tell me what makes a male? What is it that makes you male? Like, what does that mean?
It's just your energy and how you feel inside. I've never been a woman. I've never thought of myself as a woman.
So basically, the message I get from that is that she likes the way she looks. She's perfectly fine with it for the time being, right? And they mention that, and then she goes around and says she does not actually like the way she looks. But she misinterprets that because the interviewer is asking about her discomfort, like saying that she's comfortable being a woman. But Trisha is twisting that and saying there are certain parts of her body that she doesn't like, which is pretty typical of the women. Women in general, there's parts that we don't like about our bodies, but that doesn't mean that we all don't want to be women now. So she's now backtracking, and although she said she likes the female body's aesthetic, now she doesn't. She doesn't, though. That's what she says at the end. I mean, it's just ridiculous, really.
Why?
For a lot of people, it is a big deal because they, unlike you, are uncomfortable with the way they look. So if it was me, for example, I would want to look like male. And to make that transition is very hard, and you get a lot of judgment. So you are lucky that you're okay with your looks, but they are not. And then for you to come out and say I'm transgender, it kind of like cheapens their struggle.
But why? Because it's me. I'm not talking about anyone else. This is my story and my journey and my struggle that I've had my whole life. And it's awful to live as a male like this.
You don't have a problem with being referred to as she.
Right.
And you don't have a problem with how you look. So you don't really have...
I have very many issues. I've had many surgeries.
No, as
you mean
female.
with the gender.
I do.
And we're talking,
I do.
Because you said that you're okay with your look. You don't care about looking like
I'm not
men.
okay with it. I'm not ready to change because this is how I make money. Like I get made fun of all the time. You talked about it. My tits, my vagina, everyone roasts me on Twitter. Like, it's one of those things. I'm not okay with it, but it's how I make money, so I put it out. It doesn't feel good to hear that about my vagina and how my tits and shit being fucked up. It is.
Well,
it's
that's
fucked up.
Different.
No, but I'm saying
I'm not saying if you're happy with your look.
I'm not. I've changed my look.
I'm not saying that though. That's different. I don't like how I look. That's different.
Okay.
I'm talking about you being okay with looking like a female versus wanting to look like a male.
That's not what I'm saying though. Like, my job, YouTube, Patreon, all that stuff is me looking like a female. Do I love it? No. Do I want to look like a male? No, I don't know. I don't know what that entails in the future.
So for most transgender people, it's a lot more crucial fight throughout their life than this.
Caitlyn was 60 when she transitioned into the female aesthetic. So her whole life she's invalid to be a female just because she looked like Bruce Jenner. Like, it's not, to say that is kind of ridiculous.
Well,
like, I can transition whenever I
so
want.
when she came out as trans, she also transitioned to female.
At 60. So maybe at 60 I will.
But I'm just explaining to you why the video that you made had such a backlash, because. But
it's my story. I'm not saying, hey, if you're transgender, like, you should be uncomfortable. Like, you know what I mean? I get it. There's a lot of transgender people who are not uncomfortable with their birth body.
It's almost like you're just kind of like taking the easy way out and kind of being transgender because it's cool.
So then her rebuttal to it not being cool, or her not doing it because it's cool, is because it hurts her dating life, basically.
It's definitely not, because if anybody dates me, like, let's say I'm a straight female and I only want to date guys, if they look up and see that I'm transgender, do you know how many men are turned off by that? So many men even ask me to this day when I go out with them, like, you're sure you're not a man? Are you sure you weren't born a man? Like, that's so gross. There's so many trannies on Bumble. Like, that's just the reality of it.
But you are
a man. That you weren't born with a penis?
Yeah, that I wasn't born with a penis is what they're saying. Because they're like, there's so many transgender.
But they saw your vagina and they still ask you that?
No, I'm saying beforehand, like when we're on dates, because my point is a lot of people are transphobic. Me coming out transgender is not going to help my dating life. It's not going to. Why would I put that on myself to hurt? I'm trying to date. I'm trying to get married. Why would I put that out there just so people can look up that I'm a transgender if I truly don't believe that?
However, she is caught on TMZ a few days after coming out as transgender, talking about how coming out has helped her dating life. So which one is it, Trisha? Which one? Is it hurting or helping? I don't know what's the truth here.
How are your DMs? Are you getting a lot of DMs?
I'm getting a lot of
people
DMs.
Trying to date now? Are they?
Yes, I have actually. I've got a lot of people who are down to date and of all types of life. And as a sexually, I'm open to everything and anything. So anybody who wants to date me as I am, then that's.
So this video is now helping your dating life.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. I honestly thought it would hurt it because I'm like, oh, like people are gonna see this and like, you know, some people get scared and shook, but then some people get turned on by it.
Any dates set up already?
I don't know if it's a date, but I'm going over to someone's house tonight.
So Trisha lied so many times in this video that I had to split this video in more than one part. So there is a part 2, guys. Try to guess how many times in total you think she lied in this interview. Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, see you next time. Bye.
Man, call it gossip.